Welcome to your Monday Night Raw preview, guys, and it's Raw coming from the Sci-Fi channel. Yes, apparently there's some Winter Olympics going on at the moment. To be honest, I've never really had much interest in the Olympics, never mind the Winter Olympics, which is basically a lot of shite like skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that. So building an igloo and all that crap, man. The only snow I want to see is on Christmas Day. I don't want to turn on the TV and see people exercising in the snow. Doesn't do much for me, but apparently that's going to be on USA Network for the next couple of weeks. And Raw will be getting demoted to the Sci-Fi channel, which of course apparently has less viewers. There's less people with sci-fi in their household. It's not a popular channel as USA Network. So it should mean that the WWE Raw rating takes a dip. Now, does this mean that Raw, WWE are not going to bother trying to put on a good show? Not that they ever do. I mean, let's be real. It's not like WWE Raw, they're giving us great shows every week. That's not what I'm saying. But with the fact that WWE Raw is going to be on the Sci-Fi channel and they know the ratings are going to take a hit, does that mean that they're not going to put as much effort into these next two shows? Does that mean they're not going to bother wasting Brock Lesnar's time? They're not going to bother wasting one of his dates for a Raw show that the likelihood is going to do a poor rating anyway? Or could you argue that they're going to do the opposite? Could you argue that they're going to try and make these two shows action-packed? That maybe they're going to try and get Brock Lesnar on as much as possible to try and, help the rating that's going to obviously take a hit from being on the Sci-Fi channel? Well, judging on this preview tonight, I would assume the former. This doesn't look like it's going to be an action-packed show. There doesn't appear to be much going on this show. It looks like a very, very lackluster Raw. There's no Brock Lesnar announced for this show. He's not advertised for this show. I doubt Brock Lesnar will appear on this show. There's no Bobby Lashley advertised either. I hope he's on this show. It would kind of suck if he isn't on the show, but as of right now, there's no Bobby Lashley set to be on Raw. And the main thing that we've got promoted, apart from obviously Lita's return, that we'll talk about that tonight, but the main thing we've got promoted going into this show is Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. This is the only thing, apart from the quiz bowl that was announced last week, which has been promoted ahead of time. Now, both of these guys are in the Elimination Chamber. Now, could this be a match that somehow affects the Elimination Chamber? Like, I don't know, the winner of this comes in last. I think that would be cool to do. I think that'd be interesting to see the 6 participants compete in, like, I don't know, like a beat the clock challenge. They've had it in the past. But again, how can they do it? Because Brock Lesnar won't wrestle on Raw. So you either, like, how can you have the other 5 compete for a spot and not have Brock Lesnar? The only way you could really do it is if we already announced Brock Lesnar's spot. Like, if we already know Brock Lesnar's going to be first, or if we already know Brock Lesnar's going to be last, or I don't know. But to me, it would make zero sense to have 5 participants in the match compete for the last spot, but Brock Lesnar's not competing. And I just think that's what the likes of Brock Lesnar, they do it with Goldberg too. They just come out and, demand matches. They never compete on Raw. They never compete on Smack. And why not? What have they got to fucking lose? Why not? I'm not saying Brock Lesnar has to have a 20-minute match tonight on Raw. But why couldn't they have done beat the clock matches? And obviously, if you want Brock Lesnar to be last, then he could have won his match in like a minute. It doesn't make sense to me. Or you could have had the 6 men face off against each other. It means, yes, someone's probably getting buried by Brock. Who would it be? I don't know. You've got AJ. You've got, Austin Theory. I mean, Austin Theory could have took a minute loss to Brock Lesnar. That's not going to do him any harm. But did we get that? No. What we do get is Riddle versus Seth Rollins. There'll probably be nothing on the line, no consequences, and, it'll probably be a decent match. I mean, Riddle and Rollins are 2 of my most favourite people on the Raw roster at the moment, but again, I think it's just a wasted opportunity. The Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, a couple of weeks away. We could have got something interesting to try and decide who's going to be the last participant to enter the chamber, but instead, we won't get that, and the likelihood is it's because of Brock. It's because Brock's not there, and they can't really book anything because he's one of the participants, and it just wouldn't make sense. So, that sucks. Moving on, we have the return of Lita. This will be the first time Lita has been on Raw in, like, a fucking shitload. It might be the first time, I don't want to say this because I'm wrong, but I'll say it anyway. It could be the first time she's ever been on Raw since Raw 1000. Either that or I have a shit memory. Although, to be fair, WWE's that forgetful that nothing memorable ever happens these days. So, for all I know, Lita could be appearing on Raw every week and I just haven't seen her. But yeah, Lita will be on Raw tonight to, I guess, I don't know, face off against Becky Lynch. Hype her match against Becky Lynch. I don't know. Well, probably not going to be in a match herself again. Maybe we'll get a promo or something like that. A face-to-face with Becky Lynch. Who knows what we're going to get. But Lita will be on Raw. And, I mean, she looks pretty good. Not in the Royal Rumble match. She looked awful in that, in my opinion. But she still looks pretty good. She doesn't look her age. Lita pushing 45 now. And she definitely has aged better than, let's say, Trish Stratus. I mean, she doesn't look as old as Trish. I don't think Lita's changed much, actually, since 2006, you know? I mean, facial-wise, not a lot is different with Amy DeMar. But anyway, she'll be on Raw tonight to hype up a match against Becky Lynch, and who knows, maybe have a promo. I can't see a match, but if we get one, then I won't complain. And we've got the Quiz Bowl. RK Bro versus the Raw Tag Team Champions, Alpha Academy. This is the last one. This is a decider. If RK Bro win this, they get a rematch. If Alpha Academy win it, then they don't get a rematch. So we'll see. I guess it's just going to be all these guys having to take quizzes. I mean, who knows? I thought the spelling bee was actually not bad. The scooter race I wasn't a fan of, but the spelling bee I thought was decent. So who knows? This could be a good segment. And I mean, you've got Alpha Academy who are doing good stuff at the moment. Randy Orton, you know, is a legend, and Riddle is one of my favourite guys. So yeah, it should be a pretty good segment. And that's going to do it, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are for tonight's Raw show. Again, it doesn't look star-studded. It doesn't look that exciting. Not a lot's been announced. But maybe there'll surprises. Maybe we're going with low expectations and we might actually enjoy the show. Who knows, guys? But until next time, that's it. Leave a like, leave a comment, share this video, and until next time, peace.